This is vlog number 2 for English 153, Introduction to Women Authors, and today I'm going to be talking about Jan Morris's memoir, Conundrum. And I would like to revisit page 42, that's in chapter 5. We talked about a little bit in class today, but I'd like to expand on that because this passage in page 42 I feel is an amazing counter-argument for the major arguments against Morris's identity as a transgender woman. So just to refresh everyone's memory, chapter 5, much of it is spent on Morris exploring precedent, other cases of transgender women and people and intersex and all these different identifications throughout history. She writes, "Through all the ages, the idea of sexual overlaps has fascinated poets and mythmakers, and it has played its part in the great religions." That part about the great religions is what I would like to expand upon. So it's not only historical precedent and, dare I say, justification for Morris's identification, but also religious. She writes about the Jews. Some of them say that God created men and women in its own androgynous, so both male and female image. Or some Muslims say that the reincarnation of Muhammad, is it reincarnation? Yeah, will be born from a man instead of a woman. I don't know how that's possible, but we'll see. And then in Hinduism, apparently it's very common for gods to be both male and female simultaneously, which is not heard of in Western religion. And then most important here is when Morris cites Paul the Apostle in the Christian faith. How Paul assured the erring Galatians there was no such thing as male or female, and how Paul said everyone was one in their love of Jesus Christ. Invoking religious justification and precedent here is really important. As someone mentioned in class, it's usually religious arguments that are the arguments against transgenderism, transgenderness, again, against people being transgender. Not to lump all Christians in together here, I just was doing some research online, and the major arguments seem to be that God created men and women, it's two separate, Adam and Eve, both cis, and that they say you're born your sex for a reason, how it's not just a matter of chance. So Morris here, she's addressing the major argument against her identity. And it's worth noting here, I think, that Morris was raised Church of England. We know that because she sang in the Oxford Boys Choir, which is a Church of England organization. And it was only this past summer, in July of 2017, that the Church of England officially said, we are welcoming transgender worshippers now. So back when Morris was writing this in the 70s and before when she was in the choir there, that would not have been the case. She would not have been welcomed. People would be saying that God created men and women. But this passage on page 42, in which she invokes scriptural text, is saying that no, that argument doesn't hold up. This is my counter-argument. The scripture says there is no man or woman. It is not set in stone. And that, I think, is just a brilliant argument.